Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
Hi everyone, this is Ringside Rain and you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. And now, here is your host, Mark the Mark Martinez.
Hello! Wow, that was actually good. We were on fucking key.
I went into puberty during half of that.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Martinez is back. Tell a friend.
Yeah, right? A little bit of an impromptu, we're not doing a show last week because we thought we could get it on a Thursday. We decided no, because Mark was such a child getting ready for his vacation. And man, Jenks, I got rained out Sunday in Cleveland, but my buddy has never been inside Cleveland.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he made it in Cleveland. He's like, this is an awesome stadium. And I've been in Cleveland like 22 years ago and often here and there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd like to watch a game here. I'm like, when Terry Francona and Tony La Russa were both on the field, kicking water out of left field, and it's still coming down. And I sent Jenks and Cody from the 40-year dash a picture. I'm like, look at the warning track.
Yeah, it was bad. That was getting on Point to Seawolves level bad when they had a swimming pool in the outfield the one year.
For reals.
Yeah.
They came out, they looked at the field, and they just walked in. Grounds crew did nothing. I looked at my buddy Nick, and I'm like, they're not playing this game. He's like, how do you know? I said, because they just put the Browns game on the Jumbotron. Again, I worked in baseball. I understand the idea of it. They put the Browns game on the Jumbotron. He's like, so what do we do? What if they play at like 3 o'clock? I'm like, they're not playing at 3 o'clock. So we headed back from Cleveland. I'll talk about Detroit here in a minute. We headed back. It was 3:15. So essentially the Browns game was probably getting close to ending. They postponed the game. He's like, shit, dude, we're a half an hour away from home. I'm like, yeah. Yep. I said, all they did was a money grab. They kept the idiots there to watch the Browns game on the Jumbotron. Bada boom, bada bing. Play in September sometime.
Yeah. They knew what they were doing. That's all it is. You have a later game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a division rival, so you'll sell more tickets to that game anyways, but keep them in the stadium, give them hope, drain them, and then let them go. That's the name of the game. Get them out of there before they're too drunk.
Yeah. Also, real quick, if you've never been to Detroit, man, I love me some PNC Park because I love the backdrop of the stadium. The team's horse shit, so are the Tigers. Detroit might be my new favorite stadium, even of minor leagues, because I love Toledo's. Just Toledo's field's awesome. Do you know that Detroit's actually in the ground? They dug it down. So those pictures I sent you guys, that's the top of the stadium. And it's essentially the top of the stadium is parallel with the bottom of the skyscrapers all over the place. You walk down into the seating.
See, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
There's only a few places that I know do that. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was great. I had, as you know, again, you guys don't know any of this, but Jenks knows all of it.
Yeah.
I had my first baseball bat beer.
Oh, boy. The Major League one. What did you get in it? And then we need a rating of baseball bat beer?
Well, it was at the stand I was at. It was only Miller Lite or Coors Light. It was the only. Yeah. Well, I went Miller Lite. I'm a Miller. When I want to get drunk, I buy Miller Lite and drink the piss out of it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what I'll have during the fantasy draft next weekend. So I got this bat. And you saw the picture. I'm smiling with it. It's awesome. We head back to our seats. It is not. It's a 32-inch fucking bat, long bat. It is not something you should drink in your seats.
Oh, God, you can't.
Because you're swinging it, you're hitting people in front of you. Thank God the people around us were like, first time? I'm like, yeah. And if you don't drink it fast, it gets warm.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it for the experience. Once you get down to the knob, it's like the boot glass from Beer Fest.
Got to turn it.
If you don't spin it, shit's coming in your face because there's a bubble coming. We figured it out. There was 3.5 beers, essentially like 16-ounce beers in that. 16-ounce beer at a stadium. I know they usually sell 24s or whatever, but rounding is usually like $7-8.
Yeah.
For the souvenir bat and the 3 or 4 beers that I got, it was $22. I thought it was a win.
That's not bad.
I wouldn't do it again, though. For the idea of, well, because I have one already. What the hell do I need another baseball bat for? And from anywhere. At least it's from Detroit. I just didn't like holding it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
Well, you can't put it down either.
No.
The knob, it's circle, so it's going to fall over. So you're holding the bat full of beer for the entire time you're drinking it.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, I think the Seawolves, the Parts Unknown Seawolves up here, you guys know who it is.
Yeah.
The Seawolves up here. It's a little bit smaller of a baseball bat, because I got it before. But I do plan on getting a second one at some point. My goal is, now hear me out on this, because I think this would be a cool bar opportunity, is since I have the first one, I can cross them like a skull and crossbones. They have a pinata, Seawolf pinata head, pirate head in the Suvi shop. Buy that, you can have a nice like little skull and crossbones type thing going on there. So that's kind of where my head went. Of course, this is when I can actually have space for a bar and do that, but I think that would be a nice little centerpiece. So that'd be the only reason I'd get a second one, is just to complete that look.
Well, I like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, if I have nowhere to put it in the studio and more keep coming.
That's fair. I mean, can I just say also, I was able to get a Yingling in mine, so it was very enjoyable with the Yingling. Yeah.
Speaking of which, what are you drinking today? Ice Cube, man.
I did go to the Ice Cubes, guys. I cracked the whiskey a week early, and I've gone pumpkin. So the pumpkin whiskey's flowing.
Delish, right?
Very delish. Very much so.
So Jenks is staying home tonight. I'm staying home tonight. I went, Jenks, with a beer I've never had, but I had a fascination about it since I was like 8 years old. My dad took me to this dive bar. Yeah, right?
I was waiting for why you had a fascination for 8 years old. Go on.
Took me to this dive bar in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Like, only thing around within 20 miles. Had the shuffleboard where you throw the puck down. So it's all memories, but the guy had the cutout of the St. Pauli girl, and she may have been my very first crush. Because it's a bar where anything can happen, and essentially the St. Pauli girl had nothing to near to nothing on. So I'm like, man, I want St. Pauli girl. So I like it. The beer-wise, the cutout's amazing. I'd like to have that, but it has since been resold and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But this is good beer.
I've never had it. I know exactly the beer you're talking about, so I have to get it. It's just a light beer, right? It's almost like,
it's a light German beer.
Light German beer, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would enjoy it, too, if I ever got it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like how your childhood memories revolve around the dive bar, St. Pauli girl. Mine revolve around playing gambling pull tabs with my father at his bar without the lovely cutouts around to kind of draw my ire or anything like that. So
right. So we've been drunk since we were 8. essentially.
Hey, listen, my father, as soon as he could, taught us how to pour beer, and that was probably about 4 years old for me. So he had a system. He knew what his system was, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, my dad had a tap system, and I agree. He was, and it's a different age, folks.
Yeah.
He's like, if you get a lot of foam on it, just suck it off. Don't drink the beer. That you can't drink the beer, but if you get a lot of foam, suck that foam off and go back and pour some more. It has the same alcohol level in it, right?
No, it's just bubbles at that point.
Yeah. Oh, so Nick and I met a girl downtown when we were in Detroit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she liked cheap drinks, tattoos, and Morgan Wallen. Do you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It's all about, I don't know who it was. It's a TikTok thing. Clearly you haven't seen that one.
I have not seen that one. But I gotta ask, what's with the hat? What's on that hat?
It's corn!
It's corn!
It's corn!
Is it juicy?
No, it's a big lump of knobs. It has the juice. It has the juice.
I didn't realize you had the lyrics in front of you.
Of course I fucking do. It's taken over everybody's life, right?
It has. I literally have seen this TikTok every day for the past week in some iteration or form. The latest one came today to me from one of my friends, and he sent it to me. Somebody turned it into a trivia round where you had to select every answer, and it was the lyrics to this song.
I saw it. It's on the Google Docs or whatever.
It's on the Google Docs, and you go through it, and I'm like, God damn it, where was this when we were doing virtual trivia 2 years ago?
Right? No, my hat today is, and I've worn it before, but clearly I had to pull it out. It is the normal Corn Belters Independent League. And the cool thing about it is, I've never seen them, but a buddy of mine went, and I told him, I'm like, hey, get me a hat. It's a stupid logo. I want it. It'll probably make the leg for the tattoo, especially with its corn written underneath it now.
Yeah.
But the caveat of all this is, to get to where our podcast goes, my brim is signed by the $1 Million Man.
Is that who it's signed by? I saw the signature in the camera, and I was like, who is that signed by? The million? How did that happen?
Apparently he was doing a tour, and the guy's like, hey, your hat's $20, but there's really something cool on the brim. Oh, and I'm like, what the hell did he put on the brim? I didn't want anything on the brim. He brings it back to me. He's like, do you know who that is? And of course, he's right behind me.
Yeah.
The $1 Million Man signed a normal Corn Belters hat.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
So I hope he's singing, it's corn!
I think he is now. While laughing to the bank, because he somehow trademarked the song and is now making millions of dollars off of it.
Money, money, money.
Money, money, money.
So we heard about my shenanigans. What did you do on the week off?
Wait, I gotta ask. Now, is there any other minor league baseball? Now I'm on minor league baseball hats and logos.
Oh.
We know about the leg sleeve. We know there's going to be certain ones going on there. But is there any hats that you have or want to get in the near future that might not be going on the leg sleeve, or what's going on?
The Trash Pandas, the Biscuits. Yeah. I do need a new Seawolves one. It would be better if I could get a Crack Wolf one, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's miracles that need to be performed for that one.
Right.
They got to find them in the gutter somewhere to get that.
The Jumbo Shrimp.
Yeah.
The Aqua Socks. A lot. There's so many.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I didn't know if it was anything different than what's going on in the leg at all. So I wanted to ask and see what were you going to come up with? Because I'm right there with you. I think I might do, my new thing is I might do one a year, either cap or maybe tattoo. A shirt or something.
Oh.
I don't know about tattoo. Although tattoo, Rocket City Trash Pandas as a back tattoo might be the best thing that ever happened.
Oh my God.
I mean, I got a lot of real estate on my back, so it's going to be a definite good tattoo, but...
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, hats, man. Hats are ridiculous. So, my son asked me, he's like, I know it's September, and we're rounding already, essentially. He's like, Christmas, can we talk about it?
No.
Why? We want to know what to get you this year. We're tired of looking at stuff. So please just tell us. I'm like, listen, I said, all of you should go together and get me a belt.
No, okay.
I said, everybody chip in what you can, and then I'll give you a list. And I'm like, it's something I want. And they might listen, so I don't want a tie. I don't want deodorant. I don't want liquor. I can get my own liquor every week. It's cool. Thank you. I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth. But this year I'm telling them, get me a effing belt. Give me a belt.
I think we have to specify you want a championship belt, just not a normal black and brown belt. I'm just saying. Specify here.
I want the... it wasn't drawstring, the nylon belt that we wore in football to keep our pants up that you had a loop.
Oh, yeah, the loop through.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Not that one.
I have about 5 of those belts here, and I get flashbacks every time I put them on.
Right?
But
getting whipped by the coat? No.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
Not officially.
Not officially.
Okay, so just wanted to lay that out there, because if it was my smart ass, I would have just get you a black and brown belt from Walmart and just be an asshole about it. But and then give you the real one after. So is there a particular one, or do you want one, just any one? You said you had to get the list together. So
top 3, top 4. I'll put it this way, and one's not out to be produced. Like, I want the Owen Hart one, clearly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. My all-time favorite title is the NWA Red TV title. I love the European with the green strap instead of the black strap, the WWF European.
Yeah.
And then probably one that's going to be more costly is I want the AEW one. That
is that title is for real.
Yeah.
So I get that one.
But there's so many others. I want NWA the Globe one. I wouldn't mind the Ric Flair one. I wouldn't mind the Winged Eagle. The WWF Tag Team Championships that like Demolition and everybody held, the square ones.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a plethora. But, if they're going to look at the list, I'll give them 10. Because I know sometimes some are out of stock or something. Here's 10 that I wouldn't be a pissy port about.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I'll just chime in my ultimate belt. I think it's just the big gold belt. Big gold world title, Ric Flair famous belt. I think that one is probably the most gorgeous title I've ever seen. AEW is amazing, and I love the NWA Red Strap title, but I can't get past that big gold belt. That thing is near and dear to my heart for some reason. I just love it. But
that's still kind of like the real championship belt. No,
I completely agree.
No disrespect to the Universal. The other ones are all marketing belts, and I know we've had this conversation before. Yeah. The Universal, the WWE, and both women's championships have a freaking W on them.
Yep.
Why would you, unless you're going to go balls to the wall and get all belts? I don't want all belts. I really don't.
No.
But, stupid belts are what I like.
I don't think there's been a solid belt since. So obviously the big gold belt's the biggest one of them all. I think the one I loved before that, I think the last good WWE title belt was the one that was the original 2002 WWE Undisputed belt. That was the last good one they had.
Yeah.
After that, you had the spinner, you had a bunch of shit after that.
Don't want those.
Don't want those. Everything up until that point in 2002, and of course the big gold belt went till like 2011, something like that. But it really, the WWE title has just gone downhill. They haven't had a decent belt since that belt.
Yeah.
I will give them credit. I love the WWE logo more than I love the spinner shit, but it still not a good belt. But
no. Other random belts, I wouldn't mind the AWA Heavyweight Championship that like Bockwinkel and Hennig and all those guys held. I don't know, some IWGP titles are awesome.
Yeah.
And just because, and I'm not saying just because we've moved away from the name, I wouldn't mind it. The Divas Championship or, you know how we wave the flag of women's wrestling? I wouldn't mind the the one that Ivory held, or Molly Holly, the women's there, or AEW, women's, something like that. But once you get into the spinners and stuff like that, no. And I don't know where the hell they're going, but
I was going to say, do you have a place for them or anything like that?
I can't change this. It's got to be the hallway.
Yeah, which is fair. I will say that you brought up IWGP. I love that U.S. heavyweight title.
Yeah.
That is probably my favorite belt from IWGP. So if I had 2 ultimate belts, it would be that. But, win the lottery and we can get those belts maybe. But
we'll buy them all then.
We'll buy them all. Oh, yeah. At that point, buy them all. Strap them up.
We'll actually probably just buy the branding for them, so we're the only ones that make them then.
Oh, that's smart.
Because you're going to be a blacksmither and know how to move metal.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to make every single one of those belts, and I'll have time on my hands because I'll be retired at that point.
Right.
So.
And we'll be somewhere just selling belts in a studio, just podcasting, producing stuff left and right.
Street corner or something. Yeah, we got this.
Street corner. We went from good marketing to now we're pimping belts on 7th Ave.
The belts like the T-shirt vendors on 7th Ave. Just hang out.
God.
Now, wait a minute. Now, if you ever take that title somewhere, you have to defend it. I think that's an unwritten rule.
I agree. That's why they never leave. Like,
that's fair.
First off, why do you want to lug that around? Titles I have the ECW title behind me and the WCW Tag Team Championship that, like, Dustin and the Rock and Roll Express and, like, all those. I held that at my very first WrestleCade to get some people to autograph it. Dude, I held it for 4 hours and I'm like, I'm ready to sell this damn thing because I don't want to carry it.
Yeah. It's completely... Nothing against people that carry belts, but
everything against people that carry the belts.
I do not want to carry that belt around.
No.
If I'm going to get it, it's hanging on the wall somewhere. I'm putting it up, nice display, things of that nature. I'm not carrying it to a show or anything like that.
No.
Because there's no point to that. To me, there's no point to it. And plus, to your point, lugging it around for 4 hours, having it on, I ain't going to be able to strap it around my waist. So it's going to be a pain in the ass for 4 hours. It's just an extra accessory that I don't need at that point.
Right? I probably will never carry them again to a WrestleCade or anything like that because of that. They're just going to be decoration.
Yeah.
Speaking of wrestling, while we were out in Detroit, we decided, screw it, we're pulling the trigger, and we're going to go to AEW Dynamite in Buffalo, the one right after All Out.
Oh, my God, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Good call.
I didn't know that Nick was that. I know he liked it, but I didn't. He's like, man, it's in Buffalo, which is his hometown.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I can get rid of it. Which Buffalo's easy to get around. I've been there a million times. He's like, I can do it. Let's buy tickets and go.
Done.
All right. He didn't know the pay-per-view was the Sunday before, so I had to tell him, like, this is actually going to be a huge one. Like, these are new storylines up until are starting that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Returns,
everything. New people, because I don't have anybody off the top of my head, but there's going to be somebody popping up at All Out. Whether you think so or not, there's going to be somebody popping up. We had 2 last year.
Predictions coming next week.
Predictions coming next week. But 2 big ones came last year. So this year, it's got to be because All Out is their biggest pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You want to have that conversation, we can in that argument, but really it is. It's their big pay-per-view of the year. So this is going to be exactly like they said it, All Out.
It's All Out.
I'm jealous. I was about an inch away from, and I'm doing that because I'm showing Mark and the camera, this close to pulling the trigger for Cleveland. Like, I was on the site. I'm like, I really want to go. I'm kind of glad I didn't now that how things transpired. We'll get to that. But I think, and I'm not upset by that, but I just think I was so close to doing it. I was so close to going to Cleveland, even if it was going to be by myself.
With us getting the money back from the baseball tickets from Sunday, Nick said on the way home, what are your thoughts about coming back for Wednesday? I'm like, dude, I have vacation. I'm like, I know Congratulations to him, by the way. Him and his wife are going to have another baby. That's been announced. Nick, I love you. You know, I know you're listening this week because you're going to hear all of that. But it was like, he's like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go to 2 in 3 weeks. And so I'm like, you tell me. You tell me. He's like, no, let's just go to Buffalo. I'm like, okay.
I would say he was probably tempted fate there with that Cleveland one, but you guys are going to have I think it's going to be a way better show in Buffalo than it would have been in Cleveland.
We'll get to it. I want to stop teasing. Yeah.
We'll get there and stop teasing, but I'm just saying, in anticipation of the Buffalo show being right after pay-per-view, those ones tend to be bigger no matter what show you put them against, even if it has an AEW World title match on it. So that's kind of where we're getting to.
So let's roll right into last Friday, because you guys know we cover Friday stuff now, and then we roll forward. In hindsight, wow. We'll talk about SmackDown, and then everything you saw on Rampage changed by Wednesday. So Rampage itself, as we were watching it, because we got back after we were meeting the girl downtown and Morgan Wallen and doing drinks and all that, I got to stop. It wasn't a great Rampage in the first place, but we'll get there. All right, SmackDown. What did you, again, I only watched this yesterday as Thursday, essentially, because we weren't making it back to watch SmackDown in a hotel. Well, there was no reason to rush for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. SmackDown was SmackDown, I guess. There wasn't really anything of note. I mean, no. I guess you could talk about the Sammy, Roman, Drew love triangle thing going on there. I don't know what they call that, but
I didn't mind the whole Sammy sitting down with Roman. That was pretty cool.
I agree with that. I think it's owed. I just know in the back of my mind, in the bottom of my heart, Sammy's about to get railroaded by Roman Reigns, and I don't know when. I can make a prediction when, but we'll get there when we get there. So it just seems like it's about to happen, and there's going to be a lot of people. I don't know if they'll be upset, but I will be. I'll cry a little bit.
I will too, because I like him being the goof. Because the Bloodline's so stern and all about business. And I don't think the story of the Bloodline is weakened or anything. I think it's always good to have just that little bit of twist of jester, comic relief, or something in there. And Sammy is he's the perfect one. You can believe that Heyman loves him. Heyman might love him. The Usos despise him, and Roman is on the fence. He used him. He literally just used and abused him last Friday night.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's using, abusing. It's having him carry messages he doesn't want carried, that he doesn't want to say himself. He's having him deliver messages, KO, whatnot. But this is just, it's peak, you said it perfectly, peak jester, peak, you're my pawn right now. I'm using you for right now. And when things blow up in my face, things are going to blow up in your face as well. So when that comeuppance comes, Sami Zayn will get I hate to say just due, but it's going to be his just due from Roman Reigns. And it's going to be immediately after things blow up in Reigns' face.
Yeah, I agree. Ronda wants her suspension lifted. It doesn't happen. She gets thrown in jail.
I honestly, so Ronda's there, but not there. It's suspended, not suspended. I feel like this is just, can we just not suspend her? I don't understand why we're just playing this game now. Is it just a new twist on the Ronda suspension angle to make sure she's on TV or what? To me, it's like, all right, we know she's there. We know she's going to do stuff. I guess it's why are we dragging this out? Because you know what's going to happen. Castle Grayskull, it's going to blow up in everybody's faces.
Yep. Yeah. Without giving away a prediction, we're setting up for a different match. We're not getting a rehash of the third time.
No.
I'll ruin it. This was Liv's trial. This was Liv's trial. Merch,
It definitely.
merch went well. The story of Liv, I said it from the beginning, was underdog champion, and I don't know if it went over. And I'm not throwing it under a bus. Teeny boppers and everything loved it. I love the idea that she won it. She needs to roll somewhere.
Here, I think this would have worked better if it wasn't Ronda.
I'm nodding my head yes, by the way.
Yeah,
folks.
I know you are. Yeah. He's nodding his head yes, but to me, Ronda just can't carry a story by herself. She never has been. Liv's almost there, but Liv has to play that underdog babyface right now. This was the ultimate underdog story, and I get that. With Ronda, it's the ultimate underdog story. You stole the title from Ronda, you beat her, you somehow kept it after SummerSlam, whatnot. You're still playing that underdog story, but at the end of the day, this could have been achieved with somebody that can actually carry your story a little bit farther if they're given the chance to stretch their wings. I wouldn't be against if Shayna Baszler was actually in Ronda's position, because Shayna's a lot better on the mic, in the ring, and can carry a story a little bit more than Ronda. We've seen that in NXT. So I feel like if Shayna's given the opportunity to spread her wings, she's golden. But again, with Ronda hanging over this entire storyline, it's kind of detracting from not only Shayna, but really from Liv. And Liv can't experience that growth. To your point, it was a test run. It just was the test run. Don't be surprised if Liv's back in the picture Mania time for that true moment and that true run, where I think she'll have better competition and partners to work with and work off of in the summer of Liv. We'll call it the summer of Liv now. Right now.
Wow. All right.
I'll call it.
I echo everything, and I'm going to throw another person in. They could have interchanged with Shayna, and I'm going to say it starts with an S as well. And she's got an MMA background, martial arts background. I think it's Sonya.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And with Sonya's, we know Sonya can carry a storyline. She did it with this GM storyline. She'd be a perfect foil for Liv Morgan. And honestly, I'm pretty sure they'd have good chemistry in the ring together. So Sonya would be a perfect foil for it too. Yeah. Now, because she deserves it. She deserves a world title run as well. But
I said before she had to go through all her issues with weirdos, I think she was probably getting pushed to do that. Sweet cup, by the way, now that you're drinking out of it as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's a water cup. Beautiful. Crane Crushers, stainless steel tumbler. Online now.
Yeah, head over to What a Maneuver and do that. I'm really bummed, and then we can probably switch to Rampage. I'm really bummed about the whole issue with Toxic Attraction. Gigi got hurt. Priscilla Kelly got hurt.
Yeah.
And then we just had a mixed match, and yesterday, as you're listening, throwing just fucking four teams together. I don't know. This tournament, the writing was on the wall who was going to meet, I think. And now, if you don't give it to Bayley's team, I think this is a horseshit tournament.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I think the two teams that should have possibly faced in this tournament finals fought Monday Night on Raw.
Yeah.
Just full on. Because I don't think anybody else could have come close to those two. Imagine what a tournament final that would have been. And I would have believed it with the ending. Without jumping too far into Raw, how the match ended, I would have been fine with that ending the tournament. But honestly, can you take it away from Bayley's team at this point? Can you take it let's show a little more respect from Dakota and Io at this point? No. Because I think they're the best tag team in this tournament. Now that Toxic Attraction's out, Alexa and Asuka are out. But if I go to the other side of the bracket, you're right. Toxic Attraction was the best team in this bracket, and they weren't even in it to start.
No.
They were replacing Nikita Lyons and Zoe, and now we're looking at Toxic Attraction. Now they're out.
So like everybody else in that bracket gets another redo.
That's pretty much it. Unless you're going to find two homeless people on the street to put in there. I don't think there are.
Right.
But That's it. Everybody gets a redo, so it kind of takes away from that tournament final. So I guess I don't have the brackets in front of me. So it would be the 3 teams. Well, yeah, it would be the 3 teams that are already eliminated, and then somebody from Raw. I would assume. Is it Asuka and Alexa again?
Or do we have Carmella and Vega pop up that haven't been seen in 3 months
Maybe.
again?
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they're a broken up team since WrestleMania?
That was going to be the other one. They broke up at WrestleMania, but yeah, maybe they'll pop back up. At the end of the day, this just feels like whoever wins this tournament is going to be looking down Sasha and Naomi.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, it ends at Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
Did they reveal them at Castle Grayskull?
Do they?
I don't.
That's the whole $1 million question. I don't know.
Or do they pop up on Raw? I mean,
Raw, SmackDown pop up on the brand that whoever won. That's where you pop up at.
Yeah,
Who knows? I will give them credit though. I get that they have to do this mismatch of different teams and whatnot. At least the women's tag team is getting some time and getting time in the ring and having great matches.
I was saying at least it's getting rebuilt, and we essentially have, with Sasha and Naomi coming back, I don't know if you still say Asuka and Alexa are a team, but at least we have 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if Lyons and Zoe were going to stay up or whatever. The Sonya Nat team is just forced. Like, I want to stick a fork down my throat because I don't think they wouldn't talk to each other in society. I don't know.
I would have believed more if they went the Sonya and Shayna route.
Yeah.
Just have a killer submission team. You don't have to give them a name or anything, but that would have been a more believable team than Nat and Sonya. I don't know. This is my personal bias against Nat, but I just can't stand Nat anymore.
No.
I think there's not enough. She's just not worth it anymore to me. But I guess she comes from a lineage, but I don't think and this might get a hot take, might get some hate, but I don't think she ever lived up to that lineage.
Not
to be
at
honest.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name carried her on that one. But
yeah, I agree. I got nothing else on SmackDown.
I don't got anything.
So we get to Rampage, and as I said earlier, everything that's on Rampage doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't.
No.
Because, first off, I don't think it was a solid Rampage whatsoever. We're sitting in there, had a couple beers, get back to the hotel, and Nick's like, oh yeah, let's watch this. Claudio comes out and he talks. He wants an opponent. Dustin comes out. This is the main event for last night's show, and we'll talk about it next week. I don't know. Props. I should be a good match if Dustin goes, if we get a good Dustin.
Yeah.
How the hell's he roll in for the ROH Championship, though? Like,
it just seems like it's a give me title. If you step up and say, I want a shot, you get a shot. I hate that. I think it should be billed like the AEW titles where it's rankings, and if you build your ranking up. But I guess to that point, though, if you don't have an ROH show to build up the rankings or anything ROH related, how can you really go that route? And I think it's just a ploy to get the belt on television.
My thought then is, why don't we convert one of those YouTubes to an ROH show? Like, why Dark and Dark Elevation? And I know, and I'm not one to take anything away from the indie stars, that's essentially where they get their looks. And I have a shirt on from somebody that's been in AEW, and I want to make a mention of what she is doing. That's why I actually wore this shirt. But right before we go to commercial, I'll bring it up. That's where they get their looks, and that's where they get some signing and everything. Record 1 million of them one day or something, and then turn in, I don't know, Dark was out first, I guess. So eliminate Elevation, keep Dark going, and make Elevation an ROH show. Where it's just, because Mercedes Martinez, is she defending that title? My cousin.
Where's your cousin at? Just hanging back? I don't know what's going on with that title. We haven't seen. I haven't seen any of the titles
besides Claudio's.
Besides Claudio's, and we'll give FTR their comeuppance. They carry it out to the ring at least, but they haven't defended it, and that's not FTR's fault.
Right.
But what are we doing with ROH? Is it now we just wanted the video library, or is it just do we put a name value on it? What are we doing here? Like, I feel like, to your point, Mark, Dark Elevation is a great point to turn it around and say, this is ROH Elevation, and here we go, and roll out some ROH divisions in that. Because you have, I believe you have people under contract that work for ROH.
Yeah. And maybe if you're going to keep both of them, there you go. Let Claudio defend against an independent. It's, whatever, build them up on that. Maybe not defend, but work with them. Make it like WWF Superstars, where Claudio's going to get the squash over whomever, but then he cuts his promo getting set up for the next pay-per-view. Hey, Bob Smith, the great Bob Smith, I'm going to beat your ass at All Out.
Yeah.
That's what Superstars was. What was the other one? Challenge? Yeah.
Challenge, yeah. Superstar Challenge or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Off of that point, Mark, and it's making me wonder if there is a TV contract hanging around that they cannot put on a show until that contract expires. So I think, now, if that's the case, and you guys, internet warriors of Can Crusher Nation, you guys look into this, but if that's the case, how long is he going to be sitting on these titles and sitting on the ROH name until he can actually trot it out as its own television program? Because if it's over a year, my God, can we find a way to put it on YouTube to not conflict with the contract, or is that just too much to ask at that point?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Swerve in Your Glory against Private Party. I went to the bathroom.
So that love for Private Party still going strong, huh?
Both.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Keith Lee and I love Swerve Scott or Strickland or whatever, but man, it just wasn't. I watched it. I'm kidding, but it wasn't anything to say, oh my God, these are two of your best. I'm still befuddled that Swerve in Your Glory is the tag team champions.
I am too. I don't know why. Especially with FTR, your number one ranked tag team, or number two tag team, whatever, the number one contenders,
right,
is still sitting out there, not even getting a sniff of the belt, again at the pay-per-view, which I can rant on for 20 more minutes about, because I was losing my shit Wednesday. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
We're going. By the way, right after commercial, we're doing Wednesday, and then we're gonna revert back to Monday because Wednesday's where the money is this week. Not that Monday was horrible teasers, but
Monday was a great show. But the money again on Wednesday. But anyways, I'm still surprised Keith Lee and Swerve won it. I think it goes back to this was the Hardys to win. They had a plan in place. They had to put Swerve and Keith Lee in the position of the Hardys.
Because of Jeff.
And that's because of Jeff. And that's what they're rolling with right now. That is the only reason I think that happened. Because I believe the Young Bucks are destined for the Trios title right now. Without too much predictions.
Yeah.
But that just seems to be where it's going for them. So they weren't going to keep the title on the Young Bucks. It was set up perfectly for Lee and Swerve to win this title. It's just the way it is.
Agreed. Moving forward, Hook and your homeboy Zach Clayton, this was absolute garbage. I love Hook, but man, this stupid.
Did you think Zach Clayton had a chance?
No. Go ahead.
I want. Is Hook going to get a legitimate title defense at All Out or anytime soon?
Against who? He's got nothing. He just has his open challenge. Is it going to be a surprise? Is that going to be one of her? And I'm clearly asking you this because I wouldn't say an FTR, an FTW championship match gets a surprise contender. I would probably be mad if somebody came in to say, that's the title that I want.
Well, that's what I completely agree. I think it has to be somebody, a name established already within the company. It doesn't have to be a main event star. It can be, even if it's just mid-card guy, even if it's Buddy Matthews, for God's sakes, that just comes out and challenges. We know that's not going to happen probably, but even if it was Buddy Matthews or somebody of that at least caliber, yeah, we probably can figure who's going to win. But at least it would be a challenge for him.
A match?
It would be a match. Exactly. It would be a match and not 10 seconds of, hey, here's Red Rum, and good luck with that. Swing and a miss, Red Rum.
Right. Speaking of Buddy Matthews and my homegirl Julia, he crushes Serpentico.
Yeah.
Which was great. Man, Miro. Like, I still want him part of the Black, not the Dark
House
Order.
of Black.
The House of Black. It's not going to happen. Or is it? I don't know. Like, I think there could be a twist there that's going to throw us all off because AEW is full of twists. I think there's maybe a twist there. And his wife got brought up this week.
It did, yeah.
Are we getting CJ soon?
I feel like you have to. I really, like, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to hone on my theory before. I would love to see him denounce his God and just turn to CJ and be like, I do everything for you or something like that. Or even turn to the House of Black and say, I do everything for the House of Black and allegiance for the House of Black. That would be an amazing character arc, I think, for Miro at this point. Does he need any of that? No, but I think it would be very intriguing to see where Miro goes because let's be honest, he's treading water right now. Whether you want to believe it or not, he hasn't done much. I'm not saying he's lost a step or anything, but he's just treading water. It's the same thing with Andrade, but at least they put in Andrade in some matches to lose every week or something like that. But Miro, he's just having these killer promos, still killing it with the promos, but it's still, my God, he's still preaching. And then you have Julia Hart who comes in and tries to seduce him or seduct him or whatever you want to go with, or bring him to the dark side. But it's one of those things where we just need to take Miro to the next step. Like, it feels like it's Black and Miro coming up, but what's the next step?
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I got an amazing deal this week. You saw it. I got a mystery pack of autographs.
I was trying to play it up, by the way.
I bought it because the Mountie was on the front of it, and I'm like, he doesn't sign a lot, so I'm gonna pay this $50 and shoot my shot to see what I get in it. I got QT, and I'm starting weak. I got QT. I got Preston Vance, 10. I got King Duggan, which was awesome. Oh, actually, the weakest one was, and people might love him, I don't know, the Iron Sheik from the Young Rock show. Like, why is he signing? Like,
and let's reestablish that it's not the real Iron Sheik. This is from the Young Rock show, guys.
Yeah.
It's not like, if it was the Iron Sheik, I think Mark would be just over the hill.
Even with another one. I mean, I have one with him and Jimmy Snuka, but still, another Iron Sheik is all right. So I'm like, what else did I have? Oh, well, I got the Mountie, and then again tucked away in it was the Julia Hart one, where she was making the turn with Black standing right in front of her. Now I'm on a mission. He is not going to be at WrestleCade because he was there last year, unless things change in the next 3 months, essentially.
Yeah.
I need Alistair to sign that with her.
I'm just saying, if you're going to Buffalo in 2 weeks, you can be one of those people that hang outside the back of the arena waiting for Malachi.
Yeah, I'm off on Thursday. I've already...
Yeah, say you can hang out.
I think Nick wants to go to work on Thursday. We'll have to discuss that.
But does that mean you can't stay?
We're riding together, you dork.
Well, I thought he lived in Buffalo.
No, he lives 3 houses away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he lives in Ridgeway. Yeah, no. I said he's from there originally.
Okay, that makes sense. So, my bad. But yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. That might be one that travels. But again, that one is just, like, I said a couple weeks ago, like, Julia's my, like, number one to meet. I'm still going to meet her when I go to WrestleCade. But now I don't have to pay for the autograph. I don't have to pay for standing by her and gawking at this young woman. That's weird. All right, never mind. You should see the eyes Jenks is giving me right now.
Who's the one that's had the whiskey here?
Right. Yeah. But, I was going to get a solo picture of her, but that came in the mail, and I'm like, my God, this is like the best moment of Julia right now.
Yeah.
So I win. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you 100%.
Moving along so we can get to the hot stuff on Wednesday.
Hot.
Britt's pissed off because she's not on the pay-per-view. I guess that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's changed.
Moving along. I'm glad to see Penelope back. Like, I am. Years ago, I was like, I don't know. I do like Penelope. She's middle of the pack. She can get some wins. She enhances this, that, and the other thing. This storyline, though, with Jade and the Fallen Goddess, I'm ready.
Yeah. It needs to happen. It's got to happen soon. I think. Well, obviously, we're pretty sure it will.
Yeah.
But my God, it's stringing along here, and it's just hitting those final where it's just kind of slowly coming to a halt. So I think all out, it has to just end. There can be one final rematch afterwards if you want.
Yeah, the next Wednesday.
Wait the next Wednesday or whatnot, but I think it just has to end at all out.
Jericho, she made those wings herself. Like, he was really disappointed that Jade was beating the hoes up.
I appreciate him selling it. Let's give Jericho that.
Yeah.
He'll sell it for the business.
And then Best Friends advanced in the trios match. Like, I don't like the Knuckle Busters or whatever the hell they were called.
Us Busters or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, when one of your guys is named Slim K, you're not winning many matches.
No.
I'm sorry.
You're really
Even
not.
if you have Brock Lesnar 2.0 on your team, you're not winning shit.
No.
So,
disappointment.
It is. Straight disappointment.
All right, we're going to take a break, but let's do this stuff first. And I said, as I clear my voice, let me clear my throat.
Okay.
Guys, you've heard of Shawna Reed before. She has been on the podcast. She is heading over to the UK here in the near future. Go to her pages, Shawna Reed, across the board on everything, or go back and listen to the podcast. That's a cheap plug to go back and listen to it. But she's heading to the UK. And independent wrestler, just wanting to do some stuff in the UK, you can sponsor her, okay? Minimally, whatever you want to. But there's one thing that I thought, maybe Can Crusher should do it. But then I thought, no, because that just leads into more stuff. If you have the money, it's $100. There's cheaper ones too, but I'm telling you about the $100 one. If you have the money and you're into collecting stuff like this, an 8x10 kissed by her, a 5x7, a card, a shirt, a cameo. Like, she gives you, like, I think all of that. Check it out. But one of the things, if you do that $100 package, she sends you a piece of ring-worn attire. And that's where Mark's like, oh, that would be cool. Because Shawna's a sweetheart, by the way. Met her in Cincinnati. She's a sweetheart. But that would just lead to me spending way too much money. So I'm like, maybe I'll just send her $20 and say, hey, Can Crushers loves you. Do your thing at the UK, whatever. But I'm like, it's a cool deal. Like, it's helping her. You're getting, like, ring-worn stuff. And people are like, who the hell is Shawna Reed? She's independent. She's been on AEW. She's champion across. She was trained by Dustin. She goes to the Rhodes Academy. All of this stuff. I'm building her up. It's a cool piece of history that if you do it, she's going to send you something. So check that out. Check us out, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at CanCrusher69. Send us an email. I'd like to say an Ask Can Crushers is coming up, but holy moly, there's a lot of pay-per-view stuff coming up in the near future.
Yeah, there's a ton. I don't know if we're going to get to an Ask Can Crushers here.
Maybe October. We'll shoot for October, but get your questions ready. Just do everything. Find us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Farmers Only, Christian Mingle.
Aliens Above and Beyond,
Yeah.
birdsaren'treal.com.
Listen. And finally, collar and elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and the Hooligans have. Guys, I'm telling you, I've said it this past week when I talked to T Gaines on her Spotlight. Al's producing shirts daily now. I don't know if it's Al knitting them up or anything, but Collar and Elbow's releasing shirts daily. Like, they've never had a selection of shirts before, and it's crazy. They're all awesome. The fabric's amazing. I live in them, except today because I'm wearing Shawna Reed's shirt because it was the only way that I was going to remember to talk about her. Go over and buy some shit and use the promo code CANCRUSHERS, all one word, capital C and CAN, capital C and Crushers. You'll save 10%. Here comes Al. Again, we're shifting gears. When we come back, we're talking about Dynamite because, good Lord. Good Lord.
God almighty.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Shawna Reed, and you're listening to Can Crushers. This guy's awesome, but sometimes, he likes to talk about other things that are about Joe Jonas, and really wants to be about the Jonas Brothers. So enjoy his fandom about wrestling and secretly duetting with Joe Jonas.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. Oh boy.
It's on. Here we go.
It is on. I switched beers.
Yeah, what'd you switch to?
Jamaican Red Stripe.
Oh, my goodness. What made you switch to the Red Stripe?
I have no clue. I told you, I went and there wasn't a great, I don't know what the hell happened at our beer store, but there wasn't a great selection for the whole pick six thing.
Yeah.
So I bought 3 Poly Girls and 3 Red Stripes.
Well, as long as you love it, that's all that matters.
It's beer.
It goes down the same.
It's Jamaican for beer.
It is. Which one's your favorite between the two, though?
They're completely different. They're really completely different. I've always liked Red Stripe, and I haven't had it in good freaking Lord how long. Less than Poly Girl, though, because that was my first Poly Girl.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's good.
Fair enough.
Do we want to start hot and just work our way around Dynamite? Because there's so much. I think this was one of the best random Dynamites.
I completely agree.
I'm sorry to the United Empire and Death Triangle. My head wasn't there. I went back, I watched the match, but from what happened first. So let's get into it because I'm sure we're going to discuss for a long time.
You couldn't, agreed. I have to say this. The main event, love the two teams, but you're absolutely right, Mark. There was so much happening in the first, let's call it hour and a half of Dynamite. By the main event, you're at home thoroughly exhausted. Let alone, I don't know how the crowd stayed in. Sweating big time. But let's start from the top and move down. So.
Oh, you want to start from the tippy top?
Where did you want to start? Because you said top. Now, where do you want to start? The top of the mountain of AEW, or do you want to start top of the card of Dynamite?
Top of the mountain. Hook, line, and sinker. Mox comes out. Punk comes out. Backstory. Punk went off the rails last week. All these things, he's unhappy, is what everybody's saying. I hate this word, but it's just in my mind, so I have to get it out. He's a cancer in the back. Da-da-da-da-da. He comes out and says, I'm living my best life in AEW. I'm sorry I got hurt. This was supposed to be the summer of Punk again. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, holy nuggets. They moved this from All Out to this week, which things have come out, and it's supposed to maybe happen last night as you're listening to this, so you'll know before we are recording. Da-da-da-da-da. There may be a rematch. I was suckered in that this was going to be a 45-minute match, and then the main event was going to be boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Especially when Taz says, we're staying with this, no commercials, da-da-da-da-da. By the time you got done saying that, we have a new undisputed fucking champion.
And it's not Punk.
No.
Wait, things were red flagging for me when this was at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Because I'm like, why would you put the world title at the main event? Like, not in the main event. Things of that. I'm not saying I knew that this was going to happen. Because I'm like, there's got to be shenanigans. There's got to be somebody coming out, going to fuck with the end of the match. And that's the shenanigans that are going to happen. They're going to put it, like, Paige was going to come out, fuck with the match. And then maybe it's a triple threat at All Out or some shit.
Yes.
That's where my head went. Because that's the only, to me, that would have been the only reason you didn't put the world title in the main event with two caliber stars like Moxley and Punk. And then 45 seconds after the bell rings, Death Rider 2 comes down and it's fucking over. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
I was legit speechless.
I can talk.
Not upset that Punk lost or Mox won. Because, listen to us, year after year, month after month, we love Mox. We just figured it was built to something else, that Mox was the placeholder, and maybe it was going to be a surprise roll-up victory after Punk got his ass kicked for, like, the whole, once he had the injury, I thought, Mox is working on this leg for the next half an hour.
Minutes. Yeah. Tension, yep.
And then Punk doesn't hit to go to sleep, just Owen Hart rolls him up or whatever and gets that shenanigan victory. You could lead to a rematch or somebody comes out then. I didn't think I was going to see the death of Punk.
Yeah. Was this a... What, they throw it around all the time.
There you go.
Receipt? Is this a receipt? Is this a Punk, you've been such a pain in the ass in the back, you're going to lose in 45 seconds and that's your punishment type thing? Or is it, because you see these things in Japan happen a lot, where it's a 1, 2, 3 very quick match that ended, world titles involved in that. You don't see it in the U.S. because that's not the U.S. style. They want to draw out that main money match, but they made sure that it wasn't the main money match tonight. It wasn't the main event. And they could pull it off where it was 45 seconds and then it was done. Like, so I personally really love the fact that they just fucking pulled the rug out, hit us over the head with it, and then kind of buried us a little bit with it. That this
a
was
little
like
bit.
A little bit. I'm gonna go. A whole lot of shit. We're 6 feet deep, guys, and we're going fast. This was out of left field, and it was believable.
Yeah.
Believable. Because if this was anybody else than Mox, I think we would be having a totally different conversation right now. Even if it was MJF.
I agree.
I don't think this is the same conversation, but because it was Mox, I completely agree that the way this went down. Now, again, like Mark alluded to, things are supposed to happen for you guys by the time you listen to this on Saturday. So it could be something totally different going on, because that's been the theme for AEW since last Friday.
Right.
But at this point in time, where do we go from here? Let's speculate from this point in time forward without knowing what we know, not getting into that deep dive of what's going to happen on tonight, even though you guys listen to this tomorrow. Where would this go if we didn't know things that we knew were happening tonight on Rampage?
Well, before we get there, I want to bring up two things that I saw online. One, people bitching. saying, and this I had to get this out because this just annoyed the hell out of me. Punk kicked him with his right foot. Why did he hold his left foot? Because when he twisted to spin, that's when his ankle came out. Yeah, your leg can go willy-nilly in the air and you just happen to connect with it. But all his weight on his injured because he came back to... I thought it was a perfect story. I didn't want him to hold the one that connected.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, because that's saying, like, Mox's head's made of concrete at that point.
Right.
That's not breaking... Mox's head's not breaking his foot unless he's kicking at it with 65 miles per hour or some shit like that.
And he's not Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he's not Pat McAfee. He's not punting shit. So, but I agree with you. It had to be the planted foot. The people that are hating on it just don't understand basic biology. I was trying to think of the right scientific term, but basic biology.
That would be anatomy, actually.
Is it? Yeah, it's anatomy, but biology is the same thing. Whatever. But it's science. Basic science. Basic science, people. Listen, I never said I was excelling at science in school. So.
Are you an engineer? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, fuck no. Those people are better than me and smarter than me in that aspect. But it made perfect sense because if I'm standing and pivoting on that foot, I'm putting a lot of weight, putting a lot of pressure, and let's be honest.
The torque,
you hitting. Let's try to break this down here. You hitting somebody else's head, there's going to be reverberations through your body that hurt your foot. I'm probably making that shit up, but it's probably going to hurt you in some aspects. So to me, it made perfect sense that would be the case. So people that are bitching about it online, common sense, guys, come on. Think about it just a hair deeper in your thought process and you'll be fine. But go on, you had another point.
Well, to that, then that's what made me think, okay, work over the leg, da-da-da-da. And then I actually bit that he was hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think he's hurt.
I bit too. I won't lie. Punk's a great actor. Let's give him that credit. I bit too on that. I thought he might be a little legitimately hurt. Obviously not now. Did you see Bobby Fish these past couple days?
No.
Bobby Fish goes, that's not how you throw a kick, champ. And after the Punk kick, and now today he posted online, he goes, oh, professional wrestlers can't kick. And it's a perfect video of him throwing that type of kick and like an MMA style video. So he's just shooting on Punk at this point. Nice. But that's been kind of a funny thing going on as well. It's like Bobby Fish is just mocking Punk at that point. And it's kind of funny, but yeah.
Which could possibly be leading up to tonight for yesterday for you guys. Maybe something happens. Second thing I wanted to bring up is you said what's going forward now. I saw this online, and I want to throw it by you.
Okay.
Does this get MJF back, and you get this mega heel group? Because we don't have everybody loves the Jericho Society, House of Black, the Elite. We need people that AEW just wants to shit on. And we've been seeing a little bit of Punk twisting, I think, for a couple months, even prior to him winning the championship. And when he came back, he talked a little bit. I thought, oh, this is coming. It's coming. He's going to be a heel. Do we get MJF and Punk working together to screw Moxley?
I'm wondering if that's the case. And I'm trying to pull up the text now because I think it was Cody from the 40-Year Dash that brought this up to me too. He said the same thing. Is there an MJF Cody thing, or not MJF Cody, MJF Punk thing happening where there's a mega faction? But see, here's the thing. Yeah, everybody would hate them for a hot second.
When they came out together, everybody was like, go fuck yourself, boo!
Yeah.
As soon as MJF wins the title, their money.
I'm not even going off that far. All I'm saying is I'm giving it a week because they start talking their shit again. You might have people that boo them in select towns because of what they say in those select towns, but every AEW, a lot of the AEW audience is still going to cheer for Punk and MJF together because we cheered for MJF despite the shitty fucking things he said. And he was hitting scum, bottom of the barrel shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he shit on Brian Pillman's grave basically in Cincinnati the one night. So we still cheered for him. We still applauded Punk even at his worst of times, which probably weren't that worse, but we know that could be getting very bad very quickly. So I think I would love to see this mega group together, but Mark, I don't think it would last longer than Full Gear.
No, because at some point I need that match. I need that match.
At some point, MJF has to become the champion, and we need like you said, we need the match. Any one of us needs a match. I just feel like it might be enough to get him through, All Out, and that's the end of it. Or something else fishy's going on at All Out, and then MJF somehow walks out of All Out with the title. Who the hell knows?
Right. I mean, we have tonight and Wednesday, essentially.
And next Friday. We still have Rampage next Friday, but
it'll be out Wednesday night what happens. Especially if something big like that happens on Rampage.
I agree, but MJF wouldn't be there until All Out.
Right.
So we still have 3 shows that we're not going to know what the fuck's going on, even if it's a one-on-one match. But even if it's a rematch, we don't know what the fuck's going on until that point.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I did have one more thing on Punk that I wanted to kind of bring up, and I forgot. Because we're just unbelievably heated. Not heated, but happy heated. I don't know.
Happy-go-lucky. We're heated on the people that are bitching about the match and bitching about the injury and all of that stuff. But happy because this was, even though it wasn't a 20-minute classic, it's still an amazing moment in AEW history and something we're going to talk about for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Because if they're going away from Punk and he's a horrible human being backstage, and this is all maybe just a social media ploy, because Bobby Fish out of nowhere, no disrespect, I like Bobby Fish, I've always liked Bobby Fish, just to shit on Punk? What do we got going on? You just got muted. Did you mute yourself?
No, I didn't. My mouse wasn't even close to the screen, so I don't know what the hell. Is the beard hitting it? I don't know what's going on here. But I don't know if it's catching that. But
it did. Are we ASM now or whatever? Is that what it's called?
ASMR. And we've completely lost this entire program. All right.
I loved it. I really did. Like I said, I was shocked. Does this change the whole realm now? What happened last night? Can we have All Out, Jenks? Let me ask you this. Can we have All Out without an AEW championship match?
I don't know how you would. But I guess technically you could.
I mean, the card is locked and loaded. I mean, there's anything can be.
They know. They know. Technically you could, but it would have to be a blockbuster main event that nothing against the trios titles, but it's not that.
No.
And it's not the tag titles, and it's not the 6-man tag with FTR. I'll get on that rant at some point. It has to be blockbuster between, I think the only way you could do it is Blackpool Combat Club and the JAS again. But again, you already had that match. You had that in Anarchy in the Arena.
Yeah.
If that was happening at All Out, maybe that could be the main event and substitute for the world title, but there's no way they're going to exclude it.
No.
But I don't think you can piecemeal something else in there either. Do they put Page and Moxley? That's only a week build. That's a terrible... I mean, they're going to deliver, but it's only a week and a half build. You can't... That's not enough time I don't
Not
think
for that. Not for that,
no,
I don't
that's
think.
not a respectful amount of time to deliver that type of match. So I don't think you can.
Does Mox put out an open challenge because he's the wild thing, the crazy son of a bitch, and I don't have anybody as of yet, but is that the surprise match then?
It could be, but there's only one surprise I would want for that. And it's MJF.
Right. And that would give it away, I would think.
I think it would too.
Matt.
Now, wait a minute. Let's back that horse down the track here.
Okay.
That didn't make any sense, but we're going to do it anyway.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't back him down the track.
They can't go ass backwards. All right. My mind can't, they can't.
By the way, you can't go ass backwards is the title of this. Go ahead.
I love it. So, what I was going to say is I think the only way you could possibly do that, and hear me out, you can hate it if you want, is you rebook the rematch for Punk Mox. Punk gets taken out again before the rematch for the AEW World title. Then you're scrambling. Is Punk going to join it? Is Punk able to function in it? What's going on with Punk? They decide no. Substitute comes in. That's MJF. But I think you would have to do a return match at Full Gear between Mox and MJF again because you need to have that build at that point.
Yeah.
But who knows? Again, that's not my prediction, but it could be one possible play you could play into it a little bit if they're going to sell this foot injury. Because to me, you can't have Punk sell a foot injury 2 days later say, oh, he's going to be fine for the pay-per-view, so let's go again.
Right.
At this point, Punk has to be out 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah, because
there's got to be some sort of, is he going to be able to wrestle? Is he not going to be able to wrestle? That play going into the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But,
to me, it snapped inside the boot. It almost looked like Jason Kendall stepping on the base. If you don't know what that is, check that out on YouTube.
Yeah. Maybe have a drink before you check that out on YouTube.
So, the whole Punk stuff, man, it just blew our mind. All right. The next one I want to talk about is, and we're going to get to everything, essentially, because there are some great matches. Rosa comes out and says, hey, because this is just as hot. I'm injured. I've been working through an injury. Da-da-da-da-da. But it's been for months now that you heard that Rosa is just, and I love her. Rosa, if you listen, I love you. I don't know, nor do I care. She's been toxic backstage.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, this is a legit injury. Everybody's coming out saying this is a legit injury. So it's now Britt that 3 days earlier said, oh, fuck it, I'm not going all out. Now Britt, Hayter, Tony Storm, and Sheeta, who has been MIA again.
Yeah, it shows right back up. And I'm like, where the fuck was Sheeta at? Like, I wasn't expecting Sheeta to be thrown into that mix, but hey, kudos.
Hours, well, I wasn't doing anything at work. I read that Rosa's upset, and this may be a spoiler. We'll find out. She doesn't want to drop it to Tony Storm.
But see, that leads into another rumor that I saw, was there's the test for her and Britt, and they actually legitimately hate each other. And then from another thing, when she broke Hayter's nose, Hayter chased her apparently, and she hid in a bathroom from Hayter.
Looking for Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, exactly. That might end up being the name of the podcast. But, so now, is this just going to be the case of, I guess, does that limit it to one person that they have to have the world title to, that she can drop it to? I don't feel like that should be the case. I have my thoughts on who could win that, but that would leave Sheeta, who's literally been nowhere in AEW for the past couple months, and nothing against her. I know she was in Japan competing, then she had that fake injury, and then she was...
That she didn't even know about.
that she didn't even know about, but she was able to compete in Japan. And then, she's back, which is great. I love Shida. I think she's a great workhorse for the division, did wonders for them. But is Shida the right person for that role? I don't know if I think so.
Not at this point, I don't think.
I don't think so
I
either.
think any of the other three are.
I agree, but they have to build Shida back up.
Yeah.
So, to me, maybe Shida's the only there to take the pinfall at this point. Who knows? But there's so many backstage stories playing into this. What's with the drama, man? Like,
I know.
What is going on?
I want to throw this out there as well. That how do you get the title off of her then? Is it she's going to, and there's one more thing I want to bring up too. Is it Shida, and then if it's a back injury, so Rosa's on the shelf for, again, 4 weeks, and then she just comes back on a Dynamite and essentially loses it the same way to Shida, then we have to pivot real quick to get back to on track to get it to Tony or somebody like that. I don't know. Those are all just thoughts in my head. But if it's a legit injury, and I believe it is in my heart of hearts, which makes it, you can't have 2 interim champions. That's another reason why they knew about Rosa's thing. That's why they shifted to Mox and Punk. You can't have 4 heavyweight champions, essentially, on your damn show. And that's what you have. You would have had Punk, you would have had Mox, you would have had Rosa, and you would have had whomever at this point. You have to get rid of that.
That's a fair point. So I'm wondering, she probably worked through Battle of the Belt. She probably had to carry the belt at least to this point in time when Mox and Punk were, because now that you say that tracks. Mox and Punk were having the match to determine the undisputed champion same night as they announce Rosa's injury. That makes perfect sense, Mark. You can't have 4 people running around saying, I'm the world champion, I'm the world champion, I'm the women's champion, I'm this women's champion. You can't have that. So that's a fair point. They held out as long as possible. I agree it has, and that probably leads into some, well, I'm going down the rabbit hole, but that probably leads into some of the cases of, we talked about with Marina Shafir. I'm going to give her benefit of the doubt now. If this was a legitimate injury and she was injured at that time, the whole sandbagging controversy around that time, she probably couldn't go. She just probably couldn't do it at that point. And there's probably other cases, incidents with Hayter in that, whether it's personal or whatnot, there's probably something, whatever's wrong with her physically, prevented her from doing what she needs to do in the ring to protect her opponent at that point. That's not an excuse for what happened or what went down or anything of that nature, but it probably lends to that fact. Now we're going to see this. But again, Mark, how long can you keep an interim champion there? I feel like it has to be a short-term injury, 3 months, maybe 4 to 5, I can see. But if we're talking a back injury and she's got to get spinal surgery and like a year out, that to me is you got to relinquish the title and just walk away. You can't do the interim title bit for a year.
Perfect softball for this question.
Okay.
Is the interim championship thing biting Tony Khan in the ass?
No.
Oh, see,
Well, I would, you know what? Let me take that no back. Yes and no. Because it depends on how you book the interim champion and what rules you have in place behind the scenes for the interim champion. If it's a Punk situation, it's 3 months. We know he's going to be back. Great. We can play that off for 3 months, bring Mox up. 3 months. We know Mox won, but whatever. You can play that off for 3 months as interim champion. If it's a situation where you're going to a year or you have parameters set that said, if this exceeds
your contract,
exceeds your contract or 5 to 6 months down the road, you've got to relinquish the title. Like if it's a neck surgery, you're done. There's no way you can retain the title and be women's champion for over a year and have an interim champion on your show. But you have to put parameters around it. If you don't put parameters around it, yes, it bites you royally in the ass.
I think over time we are not going to see the interim thing. We're going to see it for the women now, but I think maybe like a legit injury comes along, maybe like Punk's or something like that. Maybe we get back to the whole like NWA, WWF of the 80s. It has to be defended in 90 days or you have to give it up or something like that, because you can keep them relevant for 90 days or maybe was it 30? I don't remember.
It was 30.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 30. Yep.
You can keep them relevant if it's a bum shoulder by just talking and doing promos and getting hype and everything. Anything longer than that, man, tournaments are fun. I will always waive a good tournament. Off of an injury, a tournament isn't a bad idea. And just spruce it up a little bit. Don't just put, all right, we're going to put Mox against me, you, Cody, the English professor. Don't feed idiots. And I'm not saying it mean to anybody that's listening. Don't just feed them a cakewalk. At least throw, holy shit, Mox is going to face Wardlow because now Wardlow's going to go after this. Or, somebody else is built up. Give us matches in that. A la, again, my favorite WrestleMania, 4.
Yeah, you could go that route. I think Tony Khan has done himself a service, though, in the rankings. Because you can now, if you want to do a tournament, seed people 1 through 5. I'm sure he's got through 10. You could say 1 through 10 just to BS or whatever.
No.
I know you're shaking your head.
No.
But listen, wait. All right, what's your hatred here before I go on?
Some of those rankings. People that are 97 and 24 because they had 78 matches just on Dark are not... who was it we were just bitching about a couple weeks ago that is number 3? And I'm like, holy fuck, how is he 3?
I get it.
And Christian Cage isn't even ranked.
I get it. The rankings are bullshit. But what I'm saying
No,
is...
they matter. They matter. Ask everybody. Kidding.
Matter, bullshit, whatever. But my point is, at least he has the rankings in place, so you could kind of say, okay, even if they're bullshit 97-0, run the table Goldberg style, it's still a ranking. You're still on the top 5 or whatnot. That's great. The other thing I thought of, and now it's completely gone to my... Nope, it's gone. Never mind. Don't fucking worry about it. So the rankings could work in his favor there. You're right. A good tournament could work. I think it could lend itself to switch it up a bit. Can you do a gauntlet style match? Go off the ranking, even if you want to go off the rankings or just do it, run a gauntlet. Somebody runs a gauntlet. Run a battle royal. Jesus Christ, we got the ladder match, casino ladder match in 2 weeks that we have no idea who the fuck's a part of that.
I know.
So throw that in there. Maybe it can be just a 6-man ladder match with all the fucking crazy people that you want to throw in there. The possibilities are endless for it, and I agree with you. The interim title, I think if it has the right parameters around it, maybe it's 30 days, maybe extend it to 90 like they did with Punk here. Interim champion for 90 days, it's going to be Moxley. And then have him face off when the champ comes back. That makes sense. But if you're starting to get into that 6-month time frame, you can't legitimately tell me, dude, this person's still the champion. No, the whole picture and the whole company has changed since that person went away. And that's nothing against them, nothing against their injury. But damn, dude, if Moxley was a champion for 3 more months, I would not want to see a Punk Moxley world title match. There'd be no point to that.
Let me stir it a little bit more, and then we'll start breaking down some matches. Mox is an idiot, and I mean that with my heart. So he's your interim champion. He gets a legit injury now. Not that Punk's wasn't. He gets a legit injury. Now he's out. And you're like, oh, Christ. How do I get Punk to hate on, again, Bob Smith, this wrestler that I bring up all the time? Because Punk's coming back, but Mox just got an injury that he can't move. how do I build up Punk against Bob Smith for All Out?
Yeah. Well, how does that happen? You know,
an injury can happen in a second.
Yeah. And does it throw panic to the wind? Let's not even go to Punk. Let's not even bring Punk into the picture. Let's say Punk was out for another 8 months. Okay? They were going to leave Mox as interim champion. Mox goes down with an injury. You're 4 months away from Punk coming back. Mox is out with an injury. Are you going to name an interim champion? That makes no goddamn sense, right?
The landscape of wrestling has changed in that 8 months.
8 months. Well, it's changed in that 4 months. Let's not even go there. In that 4 months, hell, even since Punk broke his leg before Forbidden Door, the wrestling landscape has changed in that time period tremendously in AEW itself and outside of AEW itself. Because now it's a whole other ballgame in that.
We'll get there.
But we'll get there. But to that point, you can't make an interim champion.
Then you have to have a three-way when they're all back in a year and a half.
Yeah. And then at that point, it's not Punk, it's not Page, it's not even, let's say Page was the guy they made interim, Page and Moxley, but it's fucking Adam Cole or MJF or some shit. Maybe it's 10 from the Dark Order, not saying that it'll be Roby, but maybe it's 10 from the Dark Order at that point. What the fuck are you going to do? That's the hot guy. That's the guy you should be pushing to the moon at that point in getting over the world title hump. There's a lot to play and a lot of unknowns that happen in the world of professional wrestling day in and day out.
Yeah.
You have one injury, there's going to be another one. You have to be protective. And I will say this, Tony Khan's kind of being protective of a lot of the top guys, a lot of the older talent. They're not out there every week pushing themselves and wrestling and all that. They may go out and have a little scrap or some shit like that. But he's being very cautious here because he has to be. There's a lot of unknowns and there's a lot of potential for bad injuries to occur. So he's playing his cards close to his chest and he's being very, very delicate in this situation. And I'll applaud him for that.
And one is with, we're jumping really around, probably Omega.
Yeah.
Let's just shoot this right now. We believe it's going to be Young Bucks against the House of Black, right?
I think so. There's nobody, I can't imagine House of Black's losing. They're up against best friends. They're not going to lose the best friends. If they lose the best friends, Miro's involved.
I hope so. Honestly, yes. I hope it happens. Because I said this, I don't know, a month ago. The Elite doesn't need these championships. They're getting them. There's my prediction. There's the one that you're going to get this week for next week. They're getting them. You're saying no?
I have a thought.
But it would be better if they beat the best friends. And then Miro and Black get their match it all out.
Maybe. My thought is this. And it could happen at All Out, or it could happen at Dynamite to get United Empire to All Out. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish are going to be medically cleared in the next 2 weeks at some point. Bold prediction. They're either costing them the United Empire match or they're costing them the All Out Trios title match. And then we're going to get that 6-man back and forth between those 6 people. I don't think the Elite, even though it looks like it's written in stone right now, I don't think the Elite's getting the Trios title. Okay. Would it surprise me if they did? Not really, because honestly, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega having their name on everything seems to be a theme. And it's not much of a stab at them. It's just saying that's just how it is.
Right.
But I just feel like that piece of it is still lingering out there. And I feel like they were close to being cleared, but not fully cleared, or they already cleared. They're just kind of putting them on the wayside because we haven't seen any of those 3 yet since they turned on the Bucks.
I just had a premonition.
What?
Miro, I don't want the House of Black to lose in the finals because that's who I want to have the championships.
Right.
So Miro cost them the match. The Best Friends are now in the finals against the Young Bucks. Okay?
Yeah.
Boom. They beat the Christ out of the Best Friends, and then you get the Click Elite against the Bucks Elite or all of that. That's your finals then. It happens at All Out. They don't have, they're going to say, yeah, we're the champs, and then the Undisputed Elite come out and say, no, you just can't win those titles. That's another prediction I'm giving away. And that just came to me.
So that would basically make it a 20-minute first title held. Because to me, if that happens, they have to immediately go to Cole and Fish and O'Reilly, the Undisputed Elite.
Right.
That's interesting.
But they're the first. You can never be the first. There's only one first. And again, it's not a slap on the Bucks or Omega. Their names are always in the history book. You might not remember 2 to 100, but you know Pat Patterson was the first ever IC champion.
That's true. That is very fucking true. Yeah, I guess that could happen. That could be the case.
I just don't want House of Black to lose. They deserve it.
I think I agree they deserve it. I don't think, though, they need titles, and that's where I think Miro comes in and costs them the match. I think you're right. Because they love, as much as you want to say against Best Friends or anything like that, Orange Cassidy's money is selling shit. They're going to put them on the pay-per-view. So how do you get them the pay-per-view? They got to beat House of Black. So it's going to be, I could see yours very easily being the case.
And I'll forget that I said this next week, so remind me.
I'll remind you.
All right, let's start breaking down some matches. First of all, Jericho comes out. All right, this isn't a match, but he comes out and talks about the whole bullying and Daniel. Garcia is going to be BCC.
Yeah, very soon. Yeah. Probably after All Out.
I don't want to. I'll wait. Probably after All Out. And I'm excited that we got Jericho against Danielson at All Out.
I am too. I think that's going to be a very good match.
Yeah.
And it's not going to have the WWE constraints that were on them. Like, if they've had a match before, I can't remember off the top of my head. They probably have cross paths before. But this is going to be just them doing whatever the hell they want for a determined amount of time. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Dax against Lethal. Man.
Holy shit, they were throwing slaps, weren't they?
They were. This was awesome. The reversal. Like, you throw in that many reversals, and I love them both. And I was like, I don't know who's going to win this. I have no clue.
I was the same because I thought Dax was going to win at one point. When he hit the power bomb, I love that power bomb off the rope.
Hi, Bailey!
Hi, yep, she's popping in here. She's like, let me outside. You need to wait. But when he hit that, I'm like, oh my God, is this it? And then the figure four, and then the whole match was back and forth. Just so fucking good. Just two good workhorses going at it.
I have 2 matches of the week.
Okay.
This is one of them.
I mean, I don't blame you for that whatsoever.
And now we'll go fast forward. After I rewatched it, the United Empire against Death Triangle.
That was a good match.
Oh, it was a good match? Get your head out of your ass. That was an awesome match.
I'm saying it was a good match because you said you had to Now, wait a minute. Did you have to rewatch it to determine it was a great match? Or did you think it was a good match, great match, and rewatch it just to reaffirm yourself?
As we started this segment of the show, I told you I was in still a comatose. Like,
by the end of it, yeah.
After the mocks, I'm like this other stuff that happened after that, I just sat there for a minute. If there was anybody in the house Wednesday night, they'd be like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he drooling over a 4-second match? And his whole life just changed. Literally, I had to start over. And I'm like, Okay, I need to watch everything after Mox and Punk without it included to judge it. And like I said, once we got to this main event, I was like, oh. And I actually love the return of Kip Sabian.
I did too. I thought it played in very well to it. I thought it made sense. My God, this was probably United Empire's best outing in AEW so far. And I think that's a long shot, to be honest. Also, good God, Will Ospreay, that fucking landing on his feet off the top rope from that Hurricane Rana type thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know he's huge, IWGP and all that.
Yeah.
Just bring him here forever. Like, it's just everything. Just everything. I know the Forbidden Door is kicked down and they can crisscross applesauce as much as they want, but he could just take over for anybody on the show, and I'd be all right if Matt Hardy or Christian or anybody were gone.
I completely agree. Will Ospreay is phenomenal in everything he does, and like I wish I would have watched more New Japan with him in it because I'm blown away every time he's on AEW.
No disrespect to Aussie Open too; they're great, but come on.
No disrespect to them either. Yeah, agreed. But Ospreay is what people are watching and buying tickets for when they see Aussie or United Empire on the card. It's Ospreay.
Yeah. All right, other things, and I don't mean this mean, like the Britt Kylan King match. I love Kylan King. Spoiler, in talks to have her come on the show and talk. She wrestles every night of the week. I will tell you that. She's like, I just need, when I take a minute, because she's in California, and she's bouncing here, she's bouncing there, she's doing Impact stuff, she's doing NWA stuff, she's doing, and she's tall, she's beautiful, she is a great worker, like, she either is going against Camille at 74, or she's already went against Camille to determine if she gets another shot at NWA 74, which is this weekend, by the way. Buy it. It's 2 nights. I can't, but like this, she is everywhere. She is a star. Does she need a little maybe tweaking with something to make her a character? And I don't mean this mean. Yeah, maybe, but she reps in the ring. And that's the first thing that matters.
Completely agree. She's not facing at NWA 74. I just looked it up. It's Taya Valkyrie and Camille right now. But Kylan King, I probably pronounced it wrong. Sorry about that. But she's one of those talent that honestly I didn't know much about. When I can catch Dark or Elevation, I turn it on when I can, but I don't follow it that often. She's really good. She's very good, and I would love to see her be a big star. But to your point, Mark, she's traveling every day. I think she loves that little nomad gypsy life of, hey, I'm going to be in this territory this day, this territory the next day, wrestling here, wrestling there, and there's nothing fucking wrong with that.
Not at all.
Get your experience in and get where you want to go. Don't be nailed down by it, because you'll be able to hone your craft any way you can.
Oh, she's young, so yeah.
She's young too, but to the point is, do what you can. Don't get nailed down by one singular contract until you're ready to settle down and be like, all right, I only want 2 days a week or 3 days a week max, But damn, probably one of my first encounters with Kylan King, she held her own against Britt for the most part. So
yeah,
I thought it was very good.
Otherwise, Billy Gunn against Colton, you knew something.
Yeah, Well, you knew Stokely was going to come back out and make a scene with it. It just warms my heart that Daddy Ass is back with the Acclaimed. That's all I'm going to say. My cold dead heart's now just rewarmed with that knowledge.
So much to talk about next week with predictions, and then it might be a really heavy prediction show next week because first of all we have Castle Grayskull and then All Out, and then. This is Mark getting to a wedding and having a fantasy football draft. So the week recap next week might be hot takes because
it's going to be hot takes first segment because we're going to have to spend time the next 2 segments with predictions.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
And it's got to be just by date. Like, Castle Grayskull's first, so we'll do it first, all out in the third segment. And it's not because we love one or the other, because I think both are going to be
both are
pretty
turned
big.
out good. And did you think, when you heard Castle Grayskull being announced earlier this summer, it was going to be anything worthwhile?
No.
What a transition and power will do to turn it into something magnificent.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Do you want anything like Christian? Because that's a great kind of lead to Raw then. And did you want to talk about anything on Christian or Starks? Because that's the only thing we really didn't talk about.
Yeah, nothing on Christian. I mean, we knew that match was coming. He finally accepted it. Starks, another great promo by Starks, but if you're surprised by Starks at this point, then you've been missing out. You must have been living under a rock, because Ricky Starks is a fantastic promo deliverer. And by the way, Baron Corbin was impressed, so I thought that was pretty funny. If you saw his Twitter stream during the show, he was like, this kid can sell tickets or something along those lines. Yeah, they break the fourth wall when they can, but listen, I don't put a lot of stock in Baron Corbin, but I thought that was probably significant enough to say Ricky Starks is a major star, whether anybody believes it or not.
Absolute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right, that's a good transition. We'll take a quick break, and you're going to hear from T. Gaines, who was just on the show on Wednesday. Make sure you head over and listen to her Spotlight episode if you have not. We'll come back. We'll talk about Raw. And holy moly, surprise!
What's up, guys? It is my girl T Gaines here. I don't know what you're doing at the moment, but my advice to you is to pop open a can and slam some suds with the Can Crushers.
Welcome back, everyone, to Can Crushers Podcast. I've been bamboozled.
Oh, no. By the way, I went back to St. Pauli, girl.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on water.
Yeah, I'm the one that has to drive and pick up my son in 2 hours, so we're good.
That's true. That's fair. I've been bamboozled. The dog needed to go out during the break. You heard her. She made a debut on the Can Crushers podcast. Besides, it was a facial debut, not a barking debut. This dog went outside to con the neighbor out of biscuits, because he gives her biscuits every time he's outside and she's outside. So my dog immediately, as soon as I hooked her up, took off around the corner of the house, started whining and crying so that she could get attention for biscuits. So she gets a peanut butter biscuit every time, and that's what she did.
Smart.
It is smart. I heard him out there, didn't click, and when I went out there, I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch.
If my neighbor would give me, like, a beer every time I would go out, Funny thing, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he's a great guy. Loves the shit out of her, but she knows where bread's buttered, and she will go around that corner and get treats all the time.
Funny thing is, through the headphones, I heard her like whining.
Yeah.
The dogs were both staring at the computer, wondering, what is this? What is going on? I don't see Jenks. I just hear whining through Dad's headphones.
Yeah, that's her. She's that loud. Like, she gets that loud so people will hear her so she can get her treats. And then she comes in the house and then she's done. She's smart.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
The old Guinness commercial. Brilliant.
She is, she's as brilliant as Damien Sandow was.
He needs to come back.
He does.
All right, so Raw starts, and as a perspective, it was a good Raw until the last hour, and then it escalated.
Yeah, quickly.
So we'll get there. Rollins Riddle just fighting all over the place. Okay, we understand that match is going to happen.
Yep.
Get ready.
There it is.
I didn't need Trish to be anywhere around Bayley and this match.
And I figured this was coming. I agree with you, but I guess where else would you put her? It was for the Homer thing. That's pretty much what it was.
Can we just have? And me, this is me defending the women. Can we not just have another women's match then?
Yeah.
Bring out Natty. she's from Canada too. She brings out the other Canadian wrestler, and Natty gets a win against Bobette Smith.
I mean, fair, but who's going to get the pop? Natty or Trish?
Trish, but
yeah.
And that's what you want. You want Trish to get the pop. I thought it actually took away from, again, is it team control? What control damage control? What are we calling Bayley's team?
First of all, I have damage control trademarked on my 2007 SmackDown versus Raw team. But outside of that, instead of being a smartass, I have no idea what they're called. I agree with you. I don't think Trish needed to be a part of the segment. I think they could have found a way to get the cheap pop in Canada, bring Trish out, have her start talking, have some other random woman come out, get into her face. It didn't need to be Bayley. But I think the history, they've chirped back and forth or talked back and forth on Twitter and that before. So I think they played into that a little bit here. But to that point, why don't we just kick off and spend 40 minutes, Io Shirai, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Alexa and Asuka, and just have that match go 40 minutes? And I would have been perfectly fine with that.
I would have too. But I will also be devil's advocate.
Okay.
I think maybe we have the women's tournament ending at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I would have rather have seen the 6-man match of these two teams of Alexa, Asuka, and Bianca against Team Control, Damage Control, Control Damage, whatever the hell they're called, first. And then have the semifinals match of these two.
Yeah.
That's only beef.
Actually, going off that, now that I'm thinking about it, they can't have the finals at Castle Grayskull because the 6-woman match is at Castle Grayskull. They have to do it the Raw afterwards. So I think I agree with you with that. I don't know, but again, I guess that plays into when do they want to, if there's a big surprise to come out of that with Sasha and Naomi, when do you have it? Do you have it overseas, or do you wait till they're back in the States and have them walk out and challenge or anything like that? I guess that's going to be the biggest key, which also leads me to, is it Dakota Kai and Io Sky that are going to be the two champions at that point? Because you're essentially shifting gears real quick off of what's been building for the past couple months, at least since SummerSlam, with Asuka, Alexa, and Bianca at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like, I don't know.
But hey, you know what? That's the first I don't know we've had from WWE in a long time.
It is something that I'm like, either way, one of them apparently is just scratching themselves. It's Mickey because he's underfoot. I don't know. Either way, I'm intrigued though. I really am. Like, I understand the spinoff or whatever. Plus, now that whole other side of the bracket is fucked, you couldn't have the finals at Castle Grayskull.
No, you could not.
But, as you guys are listening, they are recording 2 SmackDowns tonight in Detroit. The live one, and then, so Detroit, which, again, we missed that by a week. It would have been nice to go to a SmackDown on a Friday night when we get there for a Saturday afternoon baseball game. Nonetheless. But, oh, by the way, we found out why it was 1 o'clock Detroit Tigers game on a Saturday.
Why is that?
Old Dominion, Dan and Shay, Carly Pierce, and Kenny Chesney were playing at Ford Field at 5 o'clock. Clearly, clearly 3/4 of the stadium
was going next door.
Anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I think Kenny has a little bit more power than a 40-85 Tigers team.
Can I sidetrack for a second, because I have to ask you this. I'm going to guess you knew your way around Detroit, so you knew where to go from your parking lot.
Yeah. We literally were a 10-minute walk from our hotel to Comerica.
Okay, fair enough. So the one time went to AC/DC at Ford Field, fantastic concert. But we went there, it was about 5 o'clock. Cody was with me. We went there, and I looked at my GPS because I'm like, I have no idea where Ford Field is from this particular parking lot. It literally put a warning on my phone that says, please be careful in this part of town. And I'm like, are you fucking joking me right now? So I had to ask if that came up. But if you knew where you were from the hotel to Comerica, that's fine. But
you must have parked because anybody that lives in Detroit, I'm sorry, I'm still a minor, essentially. But like right on our side was like the Westin was there, our hotel was there, another big ass hotel was there. Everything that the Illiches owned is there. So like good. You step on the other side of Ford Field, Eminem and Kid Rock and 9 Mile.
Yeah,
is on that side. So you must have parked on that side of Ford Field.
Especially we had to walk down a shady street to get to where we needed to go for Ford Field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that definitely happened.
Which we saw Ford Field, like, there you can touch them, both.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, there's Ford Field, cool. There's where the Pistons and not the Devil Rays, that's Tampa.
Yeah, that's Tampa. Pistons and
Red Wings,
yeah.
Play, which all have Little Caesar or something that the Illiches own thrown all over them. But yeah, we did look across, and I'm like, oh, we're not going there, right, Nick? He's like, no.
It was a little rough.
A little rough. Back to wrestling. Dolph Ziggler. Man, I've always waved Dolph's flag.
Yeah.
I want more Dolph. Because he may be close to a last run or something. Can the poor bastard get something? You're muted again. Okay.
No, I had to. I was going to pull out a cough drop because I was losing my mind over here. But apparently not. Apparently we thought he was for the past couple weeks, interfering in Theory's shit. But apparently that wasn't the case. Now watch this be the blow off, and we don't see Dolph Ziggler for another 6 months or something like that. He's going to be hanging around catering or main event at this point, which I think is a disservice to him. I think he should get some sort of run.
Here in like 2 segments, he's done with Theory. Because what's coming up, see ya. There's no way that he's going to be around this next feud.
That's exactly what my point was going to be. Oh, Sarah's chiming in too. She wants it too. Yeah. But that's exactly my point. What happens to Theory in 2 segments makes Dolph Ziggler completely obsolete at this point, and he's not going to be around doing much of anything.
No. Aaliyah's out. Again, this is kind of the rough part of the show. Aaliyah's out talking. Trish kind of sets up a match between Aaliyah and Bayley. Whatever.
It was a rough match, to be honest, between Aaliyah and Bayley.
Oh, and yeah. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it was on who. It was Bayley's first match back. Aaliyah's good.
Yeah,
and I'll leave it at good.
But she's good. She's still young.
Yeah.
So there could be some better opportunities there, and it was just a combination of things.
Yeah.
It was just a combination of ring rust, inexperience, and things of that nature. So, yeah.
Alpha Academy, I think it's done. Like, nobody was even shooshing.
Let's, can we just get Gable? Gable, run it. That workhorse needs to go.
Yeah. I mean,
away from Otis.
Tucker's probably laughing, saying, hey, I got away from Otis.
Probably gave Otis, and I'm hoping it happens this week in Pittsburgh with Kurt Angle coming back. Spoilers if you didn't hear that news. Angle's back in Pittsburgh. Can we get him to say to Chad Gable and slap him across the face and just say, you need to be an Olympic hero or something like that? and get this going, because I think Chad Gable is much better than what the current situation he's in.
Yeah, do you know, I almost wanted to pull the trigger to go. I mean, it's still possible. Again, I'm not bragging, but I still have a lot of vacation that I would take off Tuesday. I would probably take off Monday as well, because I wouldn't want to go down after 5 o'clock in the morning. But I'm like, oh yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. I could even stay at somebody's house and, leave after I go to Peace, Love, and Donuts or something like that.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to commit. I know it's Triple H's WWE. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to a 3-hour Raw yet, because I'm still fast forwarding.
The one time I've gone to a 3-hour Raw, it was brutal. It was back in 2015. I mean, I was in great company. Cody was there with his wife, Kaylin. Great company. But, man, that was a long-ass show, and they didn't have really much of anything. It was building up towards, I think it was tables, ladders, and chairs and stairs. So even then, all you can think about is it had the return, I think, of Tommy Dreamer and Rhino at that point. I think they came out for the tables match with the Wyatts and that. But it was just a brutal 3-hour drag. Because, again, in that point in time, you're not having a lot of wrestling in the ring. It's mostly promos, mostly backstage stuff, so it's not really anything good that's going to keep you there. I did see, though, this was the longest Raw, or this was the longest in-ring matches to occur on Raw in a very long time. I think it clocked in an hour 22 of the show, which is fantastic. So it's starting to get back there where it can be a very entertaining show, but I'm in the same boat as you as it's not quite there yet.
Yeah,
but it's getting there.
I'm not pulling the ticket. Yeah, the last Raw I was at is Britt faced Nia Jax. So.
Oh, you went to that? Oh, man.
Yeah, and that was, I believe, Finn and Rollins setting up to see who was moving on to the Universal Championship, or it was the Universal Championship was not crowned yet.
Okay, so then it had to have been Finn and Roman at that point, because Rollins was going to face the winner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there it was. Yeah.
Yep.
But, yep. And we didn't know Britt was going to be there. So it's not like I pulled the price of saying, hey, I know Britt's going to be on the card, because she just got squadooshed by Nia Jax.
That's true.
But that was my last time. She was still IWC champion at that time. Next up, Ms. Ciampa against Bob and AJ. Holy shit, let's throw people together for...
and all that for one of them to get kidnapped at the end.
And that's really what it was. I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. I do like that we are tying some stuff together a little bit. And we always said, a rebuild for baseball takes about 5 years, right? A good rebuild. Wrestling, a good rebuild, and Trips is going to need it 6 months to a year before we get there. We are at least tying loose ends together. That Dexter told Indy goodbye on NXT. That's at least okay. I'm intrigued. Months ago, I'd be like, what the fuck is this shit? But I'm at least intrigued. The match itself wasn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it had nothing to do with these 4 guys in the ring. The main plot was Loomis is stealing Miz.
Yeah.
Done.
For whatever reason, he stole Miz, and it's over. And I don't know. But I will say I was heartwarmed by the goodbye on NXT. I did watch that several times. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was well done. That was a well done loose end tied together. But to your point, this match had nothing to do with what happened outside of it, which, again, would you be upset because the United States title essentially meant nothing in this? This whole thing meant nothing in the grand scheme of what happened afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's like, you guys said Raw was good.
We did.
To great. No, maybe not great. Gooder. I'll put it that way. I don't think it's great yet. Because there's pieces sprinkled.
Yep.
All in all, if this was just thrown together 2-3 months ago, we're like, what the hell? But we know now that Trips is working in the next segment means everything.
Indeed, and I was surprised it came right out of a commercial break. I thought that was a very, very interesting way to do that.
I'm surprised it was never... Shit happens. Like, honestly, when we make our predictions next week on All Out or Castle Grayskull or anything like that, it's going to be leaked that Bob Smith is coming. Goddamn, Bob Smith is all over the place.
Bob Smith doesn't know when to stop.
Bob Smith is coming. Okay, we might have saw it because we stumbled across it. We didn't mean to, but we clicked on something we shouldn't have. Da-da-da-da. So that might be put in our mind, but we have our own thoughts. Da-da-da-da-da. I wouldn't have picked Gargano to show up in Toronto if you would have said Houston Astros are winning the World Series this year.
I was trying to shoehorn him into Cleveland, which made the most fucking sense in the world because he's from Cleveland.
Right. Or Pittsburgh, because you can hate on him then because he can say, or you could get a bad Gargano.
Yeah.
Which would have been great too, that's shitting on Pittsburgh, saying there's better wrestling 3 hours away in Cleveland.
Exactly.
Why the fuck does he show up? And it's a good fuck. He shows up in Toronto.
I don't know, but I think, to your point, it's a good fucking fuck because it was completely unfucking expected. They showed up in Toronto. This is, to me, the Triple H era is like a bunch of night after WrestleMania Raws when they were actually meant something and were decent happening in a row every week because Triple H is like, well, these guys should have been called up and I'm resetting the entire game field that we know, and he's rebuilding. He's got to bring the prospects back up, even if they've been let go from the company. He's got to start moving them back in. And big piece number one, arguably, was Johnny Gargano. Ciampa already moved up. It was Gargano that was 1 or 2, and it's going to be absolutely perfect. And this ties into why we said Dolph Ziggler is doing nothing but eating catering right now because Austin Theory is now involved with the former leader of the Way.
Does Gargano get this Money in the Bank off of him? Let me say that before you go nuts.
I would lose my shit, is what I would say, if Gargano took the Money in the Bank off of him, but go on.
I agree. I would as well lose my shit. We know this, that Austin Theory, when does he get his first name back? We're getting first names back. Can you, this poor bastard, please get his first names back? We're allowed to say wrestling now. Giving him his first name back. We know that he was a Vince guy. And Trips has come out and said, listen, he is still going to be around. Wouldn't you... This is a story between Gargano and Theory that has went back to the way of Black and Gold NXT and just continuing everything. This could carry for a while. This could be the story that I really sink my teeth in. And then Theory gets so hell-bent that he is better than Gargano, da-da-da-da-da, and he puts us up at a meaningless, that we think is meaningless, pay-per-view of SummerSlam or Survivor Series, because you could carry this to Survivor Series. It's literally, by the time everything happens, it's 2 months away. That would be great. Hey, listen, dickbag, I'll put this up because you think you're such a better wrestler than I am. Da-da-da-da-da. Rolling out a Survivor Series, Johnny Gargano's Money in the Bank. We've had the draft. Shit's divided. Now little 5'7" Johnny Gargano is decimating Drew McIntyre to win the Raw. I don't know which one, but winning the Raw Championship. True wrestling fans will lose their shit. And I'm already losing my shit now. Yes!
Yeah, 1,000 times yes. And how much more... Now we can start being excited here. If that happened at Survivor Series, now you're elevating Survivor Series back up. You're elevating your big pay-per-views back up to the status they should have been at a long time ago. So there's a lot to come out of this. And you're right. I think this is going to go on for a couple months at the very least because it's a major program for Theory to get under his belt. but it's also a good way to get Johnny Gargano back with somebody that's very talented and that can help him get back to the groove of things. It's been 9 months since Gargano's been in the ring, so he needs to get the rust off and do all that. But I think this is a great match with backstory that can help him get to where he needs to go.
Theory cannot win, even if it doesn't end up with that we just fantasy booked. Theory cannot win this storyline, this battle, this whatever.
No, because if he does, I think it hurts Johnny Gargano right out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Completely agree with that.
And I don't want Gargano in the ring at Castle Grayskull yet.
No, it would have to be, I feel like he's only doing spot appearances, or he's going to be on every week, but it's promo heavy until either he and Theory have a match or maybe a next pay-per-view or something like that. And he has to be building up and getting himself reacquainted with all the fans in the company.
Sidebar, hopefully he talked to Trips and said, hey man, I already signed up to do a WrestleCade. Please let me do it.
I hope so too, because I feel like Triple H would allow that type of stuff, maybe. I don't know. But
I'm hoping you get more of that from Trips. I really am. Maybe because there's 5 cards. 1 all women's and then 4 mixture. But I hope Trips knows. Like, that's money for WWE as well. Because people that may only do indie wrestling are like, holy shit, Johnny Gargano's back in WWE. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's like, you're not allowed wrestling there, but you can go for the signings. That's cool. I think that's WWE has to allow that. Because AEW, Impact, your mom's wrestling, my wrestling, all like, just go. Just do whatever.
I get WWE where they were, I knew what Vince was trying to do with the trademarks and like restricting people and all that because there's money there. There's money to be lost. But I agree with you. I think it's better for the industry if you let these guys go do these independent signings, let them go out, make the signatures, get the product out there and say, hey, I'm back with the company. Watch me every Monday night on Raw, or watch me Friday nights on SmackDown, or if you're Loomis, just stare at people while you're there. You know, that type of thing, just to kind of generate up that exposure and just, it's free marketing at that point.
And I hope Tripp sees that.
I hope so too. We can't, to me, WWE cannot walk itself into a corner with a big ego and say, well, we're WWE. We don't need to do any of that. No, get your free marketing, get your numbers up. I mean, this past week, I think it was over 2 million viewers on Raw this week. That's the first time in God knows how long that they've had consistent viewership like that. So get these people, let these people have a run at it, and let it extend past what would be the honeymoon era period for Triple H running the show.
Yeah. And that leads us to the main event. It's Priest against Edge, and I was on a high of Gargano being back. I didn't put 2 cents into this match, but I see the way that this match is going.
Yeah.
We're getting Edge, Ray, and Beth against the Judgment Day. I don't know when, but soon.
I don't think it's Castle Grayskull, but maybe it is. I like that. I like that Edge or Beth is involved now. I mean, they needed that person.
They needed somebody for Ripley because Ripley's doing nothing but being Harvey Whippleman on the outside of the ring.
Oh, exactly. Beat the shit out of Dom. But at the end of the day, is there really any outcome outside of Dom turning on Ray and Edge and Beth?
No. My head is nodded the whole time. No.
It's just not. Yeah.
And then we find out Edge, after Raw goes off the air, says, hey guys, next August, I'm retiring right here.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Cool that we're on the Edge goodbye. And I love Edge. But cool that he announced that and we're on the goodbye tour for Edge, essentially. But dude, really, you're going to announce that after a Raw?
Raw? Yeah. Just
because you're in Toronto?
Yeah. just because he can. I mean, that hurts. I mean, like, that's just, it's the way he wanted to do it, I guess. I don't know. I would have loved to see that on a Raw, but then a lot of people put a time clock around things. And I think people are still going to do that, but I don't know.
So, let me ask you this, and then I have nothing else but chit-chat. What do we do with Edge for the next year now? And I hate to say it like that, but
he's got to have. I feel like he's going to make a run at the title.
He's got to get out of this shit. Again, I'm not a fan of Judgment Day is dragging him down.
Yeah, he's got to get back to the Hall of Fame level. I think it's going to be, honestly, there's only one way to go, and that's for the world title or be involved in that picture somehow. I don't see anybody else that could be like a one-off feud with him or just a feud in general with him that would be intriguing to me right now. But now I'm also afraid this Judgment Day stuff is not going to end with a 6-man tag. It's going to drag out for many, many months.
Yeah.
Say Survivor Series, but it can be 4-on-4.
All right, so who's the fourth member with Edges then?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
Bob Smith.
Bob Smith. Because who else have they crossed? I don't know. But
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Does Chavo come back?
Chavo shows up. That would be intriguing.
Do we care?
I don't think we care, but they're going to make us care for 2 months.
And then who? Like, you booked maybe around the title. Who do we want to... I don't know. I don't think Roman's going to be the champ by the time Edge gets up there.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Is it when Randy gets it for a second? And we get a recap of him and Randy again?
It could be Randy. It could be... They could split it with Drew in that. And then maybe Randy takes it off of Drew and then they get Edge and Randy again? I don't know. I mean, that would be his ultimate final match, unless they get. I don't know how long his contract is, but do you think they bring Christian back for his final match in AEW?
Edge is going out as babyface, so whoever it is got to be a heel.
I know. So I don't know, but do you think they're going to bring Randy back as a heel?
It doesn't matter what Randy comes back because he's
Randy.
He's Randy. He's Austin. He's Britt. He's everybody. You hate him, but he's the number one guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing. Saw it literally minutes before we started to record, and I didn't bring it up until now. Talks with Bray Wyatt to come back. When is it? Multiple $1 million a year contract. He's coming. I firmly believe that was one of Tripp's, maybe not number one calls. His NXT boys were his number one call. But, again, from the whole roster, he's money in WWE. Couple questions here. Is he the Fiend? Is he Follow the Buzzards? When does he come back?
I think he's reinvented completely. I don't think he's a Fiend. I don't think he's Follow the Buzzard. I don't think he's any of that. I think he's something completely different than what we've seen. If he's coming back, I think Castle Grayskull's too early.
Yep.
I feel like it would be right around draft or season premiere time. Because I don't feel like they're going to make him wait till pay-per-view to come back. I think it's going to be a Raw show, but and to be fair, it could be just a random one-off week. Hey, AEW's got Dynamite Grand Slam in 3 weeks. What a great Monday night show if you bring Bray Wyatt back and nobody's talking about Dynamite the next day. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
The timing might be there.
And AEW and NXT, I believe it's the month of October because of the World Series, are back to head-to-head.
On Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, it's a talking point that we can keep our eye on.
It is. Does it mean much?
I don't know.
Braun
Breaker, when's he up?
Yeah. Was he up during the draft? Who knows?
I would think draft.
I would hope so, because I had that as a bold prediction at one point, I believe.
You did.
So,
you did.
Yeah.
Again, guys, crazy week in wrestling. I really think it was one of the crazier ones recently because hot stuff happening in WWE. AEW blew shit out of the water. And next week, I'm telling you, I think it might be lackluster weekly.
You think so?
Maybe. WWE has been lackluster going into pay-per-views.
Yeah.
AEW could be a little bit crazy, depending on what goes on tonight and we follow, but there's got to be a lot of shit. AEW is just, by the way, wrapping this back to AEW, and then we'll really end. They're just announcing matches, like willy-nilly, because we only had, 2 or 3 matches going into Dynamite for All Out.
Yeah.
And now we get Hobbs and Starks and Bob Smith against John Smith, but everybody's like, I want you, and I'm like, holy shit, this card's now filling up like lickety split.
It is ridiculously, but I feel like AEW is going to have a good week because the trios match, at least Aussie Open versus the Elite, is going to carry Dynamite. That's going to carry Dynamite for the week. So I think AEW is going to have some momentum going into the weekend. But we have seen a little bit of Triple H before pay-per-view having control of the creative. Now we get full...
Yeah, minimally. Now we have full couple weeks under his belt. We might be in for a more exciting show than we actually anticipate next week for Raw and SmackDown. And even this SmackDown this week when it comes out later on tonight that we're recording. So that you guys watched yesterday.
That, in some time paradox it happens all at the same time. But shit can happen.
It really can. And again, I'll use the generic quote. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
It really is. It is a very exciting time. And I love it.
And for WWE, this is actually their dead time. So if we're like Triple H is doing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we can't call it dead time because now something's happening.
Yeah. Jenks, next week, hot takes, a lot of predictions, a wedding, a football draft, all within 24 hours. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm watching Castle Grayskull live. The wedding starts at 4.
But Castle Grayskull is in the afternoon.
It is at 1.
At 1. So you might be lucky.
That means I'll get everything but the main event watched prior to the start of the wedding. How pissed will my cousin be if I'm standing in the congregation watching Roman and Drew and the Fiend shows up and I go fucking nuts?
Are you in the wedding? I
am not.
Okay. There might be a way to do this. I was going to say, put the phone in your pocket, just listen, maybe. But you're gonna pull that phone out at some point. So
and then my godmother just looks at me. What are you doing?
You hope somebody has a hoodie.
In a wedding? In a wedding.
I've seen it. Put the phone in the hoodie. Hope for the best.
You mean in front of me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably I'm not being a dick. Short family on his side. I'm probably short straw. I'm going to be up near the front.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. It does say casual wedding, so I can wear my Street Profits jersey or something.
Do it. You won't.
Kidding.
You won't.
First of all, I'd have to buy a Street Profits jersey and hope it got here by next Saturday.
I was going to say, I was surprised you would have one in the closet, but okay.
I do not. Speaking of in my closet, I pulled this in, and we're really going for the love of God. I apologize. I bought in Detroit a hooded T-shirt.
Did you really?
It's a dry fit. Says Detroit Tigers. Normal T-shirt with a hood on it.
I'm jealous.
Unbelievable. Game changer. I love hoods, period. If I could wear a hood 365, not like up, but you never know when it's going to rain or you get a gust of snow in July or whatever. You just throw that hood up, even on a t-shirt. It's all-weather material.
Yeah. Oh, I'm jealous.
I got called so many names from friends and people when I brought it home that I look like an idiot.
Nope. I have realized the value of a good hood and put on a t-shirt, I'm sold. I've longed for something from Bill Belichick's line of clothing. I think that's amazing. So kudos.
All right, we're going to end it with that. Madden has been sitting here saying fully downloaded. So I have something to do after I edit this and prior to picking up the Sun tonight. So Madden it is. I wonder if they have all the changes done. I wonder if it's actually called whatever the hell, not Heinz Field. Because that happened late.
Yeah, it did happen late. I don't know. I feel like they might have to. Although the ketchup bottles might be still there.
I don't know. I hope. As we said, this is my last Madden to buy ever. Because can we fast forward to July of next year?
Yeah. When's that happening? Let's go.
By the way, week 0 of college football. You watching it? You watching Florida State against Duquesne?
No, I was going to try to catch Northwestern in Nebraska and Dublin, Ireland in the Drunk Bowl. I saw it was Florida State to Duquesne. I'm like, oh, God, Lord. The only legitimate, maybe good game is Nebraska, Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. But
yeah,
I'm still going to watch it. You know what? I'm still going to watch that shit.
Duquesne puts up 10 points on Florida State. They better, I don't know if they're ranked. I really don't. They better drop dramatically.
I don't think Florida State has sniffed a ranking in about 10 years.
Okay.
To be honest.
But still.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, before we come out next week, make your one prediction. Are you taking West Virginia or are you taking Pitt in the backyard brawl that has returned this year?
This is a tough one. I'm going to say it's tough. Kenny Pickett just left. Pittsburgh's got a new quarterback in the helm. West Virginia, I'm going to be a homer. I'm going my state team. I'm going Pitt here. I'm pulling for Pitt in this, but it'll just be beautiful seeing the backyard brawl, but I think it's going to be a very intense game.
It is. It is. I am worried, but I think it's going to be close. Hail Pitt. Hail Pitt.
No trademark.
No trademark. Hail Pitt. All right, guys, remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
You're a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.